How many seconds? I don't know. Did you wait? Okay, so anyways. Okay, fine. So it's like that. I was saying that when I teach you, I want to be very sure that I'm able to get into your brain, and so that you're able to understand and get things done properly. So it's like that. And let's again start. We were at Ibn Battuta, and I had told you about it. So see, I'll tell you one thing is that how to tell you. See, going to the book and doing the question answers is, I can do it that way for you. It's already done. Before I started the chapter, I have done the question answers for you, because I don't have to learn, you have to learn. But do you think just only solving the chapters will help you out? If I teach you now this medieval thing, Indian medieval history now, and if you learn it, I tell you guys, my mutant soldiers, till class 10 you will not need anything. If you start knowing it now, only in class 8 you will improvise, class 9 you will improvise, 10 you go and write it down in your paper. Done. Ancient medieval history, what else question can come if you know the full thing? Isn't it? Yes, if you do a mistake, you might get marks this side, that side, up and down, you might get something less, or you might get something more. It's about learning, and if you learn, you will progress, and if you do progress, your performance will be good. If you do good performance, you will stand. If you stand, success will give a hand, you'll hold that hand and get up to success. That is how it is done. Okay, so let's come back to that place. We were at the archaeological sources of the medieval temples. What are the medieval temples during that time? Khajuraho, Konark, Dilwara. The Dilwara temples, that's the basic knowledge. Basic. You need these three names. If you give, people know that you know about the medieval thing. And this is also, I guess, in your book. If I am not mistaken, I'll just check and let you know, because you have these. I have few of my students in the class that say, sir, this temple is not written here. So archaeological sources, literary sources, we have okay, anyways, it's going to be here somewhere. It has to be here. Temples, autobiographies are here. So literary sources, we have the literary accounts, and after the literary accounts are the archaeological sources. In the archaeological sources include temples, palaces, mosques and forts. There are no names given here, but I want to give you the names as well. So that will be a plus point for you. Archaeological sources of the medieval temples are Khajuraho, I'm very sorry. Khajuraho, Konark and Dilwara. Medieval mosques are the Jama Masjid in Delhi, Moti Masjid, Fatehpur Sikri Dargah. Dargah is a grave, okay? It's not a mosque. It's not a masjid. Medieval forts, the Agra fort, the Chittor fort, the Gwalior fort. Wait 1 second. The Agra, one is Agra, the Chittor, the Gwalior, the Red Fort. Yes, all four of them. Agra fort, Chittor fort, Gwalior fort and the Red Fort. What are the medieval palaces? Do anyone know what are the medieval palaces? It's all with J, the triple J's, you can say. That's how you learn it. Jaipur Palace, Jaisalmer Palace and Jodhpur Palace. They are all in the north, Rajasthan side. Jaipur, Jaisalmer and Jodhpur. These are the medieval palaces. Examples. Okay, the three J's. And we have the medieval pillars. What are pillars? You must be knowing the Charminar and the Qutub Minar. These are the two easiest examples. Qutub Minar in Delhi, Charminar in Hyderabad. Okay, which is now Telangana, at a part of Andhra Pradesh. Hyderabad is still there. Ruins of the medieval buildings. What are ruins? Okay, ruins are buildings which have become not used, broken down due to war, broken down due to rain, due to earthquake or something, whichever has gone. Old buildings which has not been taken care of, no renovation, so that becomes a ruin. Okay, Hastinapur, Firozabad, Tughlaqabad. Three examples. Coins of emperors. Akbar's Louis, Alauddin's coins. Okay, Akbar used to have Louis's. There were big coins, and Alauddin's coins were also there. So these are the prominent historians of Indian history of medieval period. What are the prominent historians? who actually gave us the actual information. In the 11th century it happened. Basically, it was Al-Biruni, an Iranian scholar who accompanied Muhammad Ghazni during his invasions of India. So he gave one account of it, of the Indian society in his Tahqiq Hind. So it was Al-Biruni in the 11th century. How did he make that information? So you must know that also. He was an Iranian scholar who accompanied Muhammad Ghazni during attacking India, or rather the invasions in India. Gave an account of the Indian society in his Tahqiq Hind. Al-Biruni, 11th century, Tahqiq Hind. If you don't get Muhammad Ghazni's invasion, he was there with him. Or you can write in the 11th century, Al-Biruni, an Iranian scholar, came into India during the invasions of Muhammad Ghazni. Or Al-Biruni, 11th century Iranian scholar who wrote about the account of Indian society in his Tahqiq Hind. As simple as that. Chand Bardai is also there. It's there in your book. Chand Bardai is in his epic narrated the exploits of Prithviraj Chauhan. How Prithviraj Chauhan exploited things, narrated. I don't know. We don't know how much it's truth and how much it's lies. But as it was written, so from that we take out the information. Primary sources of the historians. Correct? Kalhan in that same century. Which century? 11th century. Kalhan in the same century wrote the history of Kashmir as well. So 11th century done, it was Al-Biruni, and we have your Chand Bardai, and we have Kalhan. Three people in the 11th century. 13th century we come now. Don't ask me what happened in the 12th, because there is no one in the 12th century, I guess. So history, I didn't get someone in that, and neither it is there in the book also. It's not here also. Hasan Nizami, again migrant from Ghazni, gave information of Qutbuddin Aibak and Marco Polo, provided an account of South India. Marco Polo, when he came into India, he gave an account of South India that full of Deccan, and Hasan Nizami gave the information about Qutbuddin Aibak. 14th century, Ibn Battuta, a Moorish traveller, wrote about Muhammad Tughlaq. Khwaja Abu Malik described the history of Delhi Sultans. And Ziauddin Barni covers the history from Balban to Firoz Shah Tughlaq. 13th century, Hasan Nizami for Qutbuddin Aibak, Marco Polo for South India. 14th century, Ibn Battuta for Muhammad Tughlaq. Khwaja Abu Malik described the history of Delhi Sultan. Ziauddin Barani covers the full history of Balban to Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Clear? This is the basic information. It's like that. So don't worry. Everything is going to be so. I get into the mood. You have to get into that mood. You have to go crazy. You have to go hungry. You have to have that hunger to learn. I get so excited, when I start sharing information with you guys. I don't always want to follow the book. I just see what is there in the book. Okay, this part, now let me use my brain. I just go through the book, go through pages, I write down something. Okay, then I open some of my other books. Sometimes I go on my mobile. Sometimes I open my notes copy. I could have sat with my notes copy and kept on reading with you. Also, I want to try have I lost everything? I have to keep in touch with it to be fast like you. I am much older than you. You are young, you are strong, you have that memory power more than me. You are smart, you have that action inside you. So I have to also be in collaboration with you guys. I have to have that fusion. Then I can go with your speed. Isn't it? And you have to win over me. Before sir does anything, I have the answers with me. So this is how sir teaches. This is how, not teaches please. This is how sir shares with us. So I have to learn it in that way. Okay, so these are main points. This is how you learn history. You have to learn it as a story, and you have to enjoy the subject. If I am not hungry, I won't eat. Even when a child cries, unless the child cries, the mother does not give milk. So when the child cries, the mother understands that the child is hungry. So if you don't ask, you don't get. So if you don't look, you won't find. If you search, you will find. If I sit like this the whole day, I won't be able to do anything. God has given us two hands, He's given us a brain, two eyes, look, find, see, and find those question marks. So everything is about luck, which is I don't believe in. It is all I believe in is what I do and how I do it. Okay? So there are ways of learning, and the ways of fast learning, ways of slow learning, and at the same time ways of prophecy learning and the right thing learning. Okay? So you have to go into history as a story. Start learning it as a movie, as if you are watching a movie, you want to know more about it. What's going to happen in the last scene? Dates you have to remember, that's by default. If you have too many dates in the, like these days it's very easy, there are no so much dates, but during our time we had to remember dates. And there was a code also to learn about these Mughals, Babar, Akbar, Shah Jahan and all that. It was a line. So it was done like that. Okay, so let's come back. So we did Ibn Battuta wrote about Muhammad Tughlaq, Khwaja Abu Malik described the histories of Delhi Sultans, and Zia-ud Barauni covers the history of Balbantu Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Now 15th century, Abdul Razak described about the Vijayanagar kings. That's again a part of Andhra Pradesh. Okay. 16th century, Babarnama came. Abul Fazl's Ani Akbari came. Akbarnama provided detailed information about these two emperors. Ani Akbari, Babarnama, and Akbarnama. Abul Fazl's Ani Akbari means the Akbarnama, provided detailed information of these two emperors. In the 17th century, Jahangir himself wrote Tuski Jahangiri, throwing a lot of light on that period. He wrote it himself. Again, biography, autobiographies. This is how things came into actually information. Like I have information about sources of medieval of South India, which I don't want to hit now. This is not here right in the chapter. Then we have the chronicles. I have told you Tariq-e-Firozi by Zia-ud-Din Barani. Then we have Tariq-e-Firishta, which was recorded of Delhi Sultans from the time of Turks in the 17th century. I just now told you about the 17th century. In the 17th century, Jahangir himself, Tuski Jahangiri. Then the Khaizanul Futu, the Tughlaqnama by Amir Khusro, tells the reign of the Khaljis and Tughlaqs. That I am going to read. Okay, and then we have the Gurjaras, the Pratiharas, the Pallavas in the first part of it, which it says the medieval period is divided into early medieval period, the later medieval period. The early medieval period stretched from the 8th to 13th century. The Palas, Pratiharas, Rashtrakutas, Cholas and the Rajputs were the powerful ruling dynasties during this period. The later medieval period lasted from the 13th to 18th century. It is covered in the rule of the Turks and the Afghans and the Mughals. So this was a part which information we got, isn't it? And so we are there into it, and this is how we get information. The Raj Tarangini I told you about the travelers also who came from Europe were Marco Polo, Niccolo Conti, then Nicolao Manucci came from Italy, Duarte Barbosa, he came, and Domingo Pace also came from Portugal, Rolf Fitch, William Hawkins and Tavernier from France. Their writings and letters are very valuable source of history to us in the medieval period. Okay, so this is what the information we have about from the travelogues. And if we want to go into the archaeological sources, as I told you, The archaeological sources are available as to include temple palaces, which I said just now. I did some tombs and coins, inscriptions, utensils, tools, weapons, and give us an idea of the social period. You will we also read about various schools of painting that flourished during this period. In the later chapters also we'll come to know coins are a very important study of the, it is called numismatics, study of coins in the middle period. Plenty of coins of this period have been found. They give us dates, important political events. A book on coins titled the Darya Pariksha, an examination of coins, was written during the reign of Alauddin Khalji. Okay, it lists the coins minted during the reign of the sultans, old coins, great historical value. So inscriptions from South India, proclamations of kings and gifts to temples. So this is how people came to know. And then inscriptions recorded on the copper plates, inscribed on temple walls. So just we have to think, why did they have to write it on copper plates and walls, because they don't get demolished so fast. And copper will never wear off. So that's why these things were there. Then we have the literary sources. These written records are found in plenty. Literary sources are found in plenty. Paper was easily available during this period. Therefore, writing in this period was not a problem. And people were writing a lot during this period on paper. They include chronicles of historians, biographies, autobiographies, firemen's and correspondence letters of the kings, of other court records, such as those regarding justice and taxes and traveling. And travel writing. So when we travel, we write a lot, isn't it? This is how it is done. Okay. What were the major historical developments during that time? During that time, the major historical developments was what? The coming of the Muslims led to the growth of mixed culture. There was an interaction between North and South India and between the Hindus and the Muslims. The cultural exchanges led to a growth of culture that was above regional and caste differences. There was nothing to do with regional and caste differences. It was an Indian culture. When I meet you, I come to know about you. I don't want to know what's your religion. I don't want to know what's your caste. I try to mix with you. I try to like you. You see that how I do it to you, do it with you in class, isn't it? The Muslim dynasties, particularly the Mughals, provided centuries of stability. Stability to the country also they gave. Immense stability they gave to the country. This led to an increase in trade also. Rapid growth of towns and cities happened. There was much more contact between India and rest of the world. People were coming and going from this Himalaya, the natural border part, isn't it? So we get information from there. India borrowed many things from the traditions of other countries. These things came inside. People came to know each other. They were sharing. During the medieval period, Islam spread in India. The Bhakti and the Sufi movement spread the message of devotion to God and kindness towards all human beings. You will read more about it in the later chapters, isn't it? That's why I also tell you, be kind to everyone, love your neighbor as you love yourself, keep brotherhood. Then only one other will come in help of something. We can't go with that. During that time, see, caste and religion was not there. There was such a nice, I want to share it with you guys. There was such a nice write-up in the okay, we'll just keep it till here. I'm coming back in the next video. Okay, just 1 second.